coming to town. What is that about?
That feels like a technical flaw by my part. Honestly,
Sorry,
I
good
assumed
people.
the combine was longer. You just said the combine's in 2 weeks.
It was in March.
I thought it was
mid-March.
Oh, my
When
God.
does it start?
There we go.
What is the deal?
Son of a
It
bitch.
starts Thursday. I mean, most.
We're back. We'll be back. We'll be back for some of it.
It was mindless minutia
No,
so
I-
far anyway. But we this is important here.
That was bad. That's a bad idea.
Back for the DVD.
I mean, we could take off
There we
right
go.
after this show and then be back.
No. We got All-Star Week coming.
Oh, yeah.
NBA All-Stars coming to
Jesus
Indy, too.
Christ.
Indiana's bell of the ball.
It is the bell.
Per
ball.
usual.
if
It
we're-
starts on the 29th. Technically, we're back. That's a Friday or Thursday. Technically, we're back that Monday. We'll be. I mean,
No, we just missed it.
No.
Missed
We
it.
won't be.
Everybody comes into town like Tuesday for the combine, and there's all the press conferences on Tuesday. There'll be lots of news on Tuesday and Wednesday.
I didn't run the
And you guys
pinks,
can be off,
buddy.
but have a great
I
time.
didn't run the pinks.
Enjoy it.
We will. We will, but we will be missing everybody. Let's talk about last night, or this morning, I guess. Andy Reid confirms that.
Hold on. I'm sorry, people. I messed up. I went back too far, and I just got down here, and so I'm behind. Okay.
2004, 2005 New England Patriots. Truly phenomenal stuff. The culture over there.
Okay,
intact,
let's see if we can get it straight
for the
now.
next few years. Let's go to a couple other teams now. Yesterday, you had this report, Adam Schefter.
And this past week, the Dallas Cowboys went ahead and hired Mike Zimmer as their defensive coordinator. He rejoins the Dallas Cowboys after serving in Dallas as their prior defensive coordinator from 2000 to 2006 before becoming the Vikings head coach later on. Obviously, they talked to a wide number of candidates like our own Rex Ryan, and I can tell you this, they loved Rex. They were highly impressed with Rex.
They were
Rex
highly
was quite
impressed.
a mark on the Jones family, and I'm a little surprised they didn't hire him with as much as they loved him, but we're quite happy that they did, and we're happy
They
to have
loved him.
here, and this will be a big year for the Dallas Cowboys without him. Mike McCarthy on the last year of his contract, so Rex has got security here. He doesn't have to worry about a head coach on this set being in the last year of his deal.
I just keep getting offended because everyone tries to take you away from us, okay?
Nobody does.
It's hard. We love having you here.
Hey, I know we a fight, don't you?
Oh, there ain't no question.
We're getting to this for a second.
Say right here, first off, I'm not so sure that Zimmer's got that job right now.
Whoa!
I'm not real sure about that.
Okay, so
I can honestly say
let me go a little further here. Here we go.
But as I was watching that live, I thought to myself, what the hell does that mean? Did Rex and Shefty not talk before the show started? What do you think he meant by that? And how sure are you that Zimmer is the defense coordinator? Is Rex Ryan potentially still in play as the defense coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys, Shefty?
Well, that was not. You guys were not the only ones surprised by that, right? So, I hear that. I'm like, what the heck? Now, last year, let me give you a little bit of a backstory. Last year, before the Super Bowl show started, I went to Rex and I said, hey, Rex, I got a feeling that you're going to come up in connection to interviewing with the Broncos defensive coordinator job. Just let me know here. Is there anything that I should be saying, not saying? Are we okay here? Or is there anything that I need to be aware of? I believe you're talking to them, but no, it's nothing. It's nothing. Okay, you got it, Rex. Okay. Well, we get on the Super Bowl show, and my good friend Jay Glazer reports that Rex is interviewing for the Broncos job, Broncos defensive coordinator job. Let's fast forward it to this year. We have meetings. We go over, what the topics are going to be. People know. There's no surprises. Now, I knew from speaking to various people in Las Vegas this week, the Cowboys, they didn't like Rex. They loved Rex.
They loved him.
Loved Rex. Jerry Jones, when he got done listening to Rex, was like, I was ready to run through a wall with that guy. Okay, so
ready to run through a wall, Jerry
I'm
was.
going to be fully transparent. So Rex said what he said. He opened it up. I'll finish it up right now. And I love Rex. Mike Zimmer's deal is not done yet. So they have reached out to Rex subsequent to that, and they reached out to him about 15 minutes before that segment, just to say, hey, any shot of this. So that's where the confusion came. They're not done with Zimmer yet. The deal's not done yet, I should say. So until they get it done, they're kind of checking into other things to see if things happen.
Checking into
on that
other
desk
things.
as you're doing that breaking news. He's like, funny you said that. Is Jerry Jones a reasonable source?
That's basically what happened. Literally, shortly before I said what I said, which we all knew, they reached out to, hey, could this still happen? Because the Zimmer deal is not done yet. Now, I still have not heard the Zimmer deal being done, which means that Rex could conceivably still be in play.
I love
Rivera
this.
still could conceivably be in play. Anyone else that they've interested could conceivably be in play. Now, ultimately, I do think it will get done with Zimmer, but
what's up, good people and Eagle in San Francisco 49ers fans? Bang, bang. Bang, bang. 49ers. Mark Holmes here, of course, with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. It is the first day of the off season, but technically there really is no downtime when it comes to the NFL, because here's, as Adam Schefter just reported, in 2 weeks we have the combine. 2 weeks we have the combine. And less than a month, legal tampering. The 11th of March begins legal tampering, where you can start talking to free agents, making deals and everything else. Donkey Butter, okay, thanks for sharing that you farted, buddy. So we got a lot of work to do. And I played this clip. Sorry, I'm a little discombobulated. I didn't know I was coming down here today. Got a family member that we're working on taking care of and everything else. Everything's good. But we came down here late this afternoon, and I didn't have time to really get my stuff set up and everything else. So that's where I apologize for having a few mistakes here getting the program started. Let me say hello to Gina Dallas Diva. What's up, Gina? And we have Crystal Caramel Corn. What's up? What's up, Crystal? How are you doing? We got... Let's see. Wait. Where are all the ladies? Let's see. What's up, Alan Williams? What's up, Thomas Garrett? And I guess the ladies aren't joining us tonight. There's Game Time Brian. Bang, bang. What's up, Game Time? Talked to him about an hour or so ago about a few things like the draft and life in general and stuff. If I missed the ladies, let me know. I'm sure they'll be in a bit. I played this because Adam Schefter got played. The crazy thing about the internet is the internet never forgets. The internet never forgets. And it's funny because when I was driving down the road, this was playing. This had just happened on the Pat McAfee show. And it was Adam Schefter talking about they love Rex Ryan, and Jerry Jones would run through a brick wall for Rex Ryan, okay? And that deal for Zimmer, it's not done yet. You know, I expect it to get done, but hey, you know, we're hearing. It's like, I want you to understand something. This is completely deja vu. Because he said almost verbatim the exact same thing when it came to the draft, and Johnny Manziel was there. He came on before the draft and said that the Cowboys will draft Johnny Manziel, and they will do whatever it takes to make that happen, even moving up to get him. Last I checked, Johnny Manziel was not drafted by the Dallas Cowboys. And immediately, an hour after this thing happened, it broke that they finally had the deal completely done for Mike Zimmer. And what you have to understand, there's Lola, Miss Hot Sauce. What's up, Lola? And I still haven't gotten that thing figured out here on this. Hold up. Give me just a second. Burning for you. I can't find the right clip for Lola. Here we go. I'm burning for you. For some reason, it won't work on my Stream Deck. I've got to figure out how to get it to work on there for you, Lola. Shout out to Lola being here. I love weed and everything's in the house. Mike Aldana, CD at D. Respect to the 40 whiners. How are you going to say respect to them and call them 40 whiners? Come on, man. You can't do it like that. Kevin Lanford, what's up? Oh, no. Brad Harris, what's going on? J. Cal, Beasley? I don't know what that is. Reven S., what's up? So it was literally an hour after that the deal was announced, making, of course, Adam Schefter look like he's an idiot. You'll remember sometimes some of the things you get with Adam Schefter, and you have to, like I said, when you hear something from Adam Schefter, you got to throw some salt over your shoulder and take it with a grain of salt. Because you'll hear a lot of things from Adam Schefter that a lot of times are bullshit. Does anybody remember when during the draft, the day of the draft, they said that the Green Bay Packers were moving on with Aaron Rodgers, like he had heard some news that they were in the middle of trading him right then and there, and when he was called upon it, and they said, well, what information did you get? He said, well, it was a summation of all the information that we've gotten all off season, so we came to the conclusion that they were done with them. No, they ended up signing him for another 2 years. So that's where you have to be careful when you hear stuff from Adam Schefter. And the thing I find funny about this is from time to I know a few people. I do know a few people. I do get a few things here and there. Some things I can talk about. Some things I get told I have to keep it under wraps and things like that. But I do have a few things. But if I happen to get something just a slightly bit off, people will jump my ass. Pause. They will beat me down. They'll tell me, oh, you think it's your own. I don't claim to be an insider. I don't claim to be Adam Schefter or Ian Rappaport. But Lisa, what's up, Lisa? How you doing? But it's funny how they can be so wrong and try and come up with a big scoop and get played by Jerry Jones. Now, I have a new term for Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones is now officially, in my mind, the emperor. Because he literally, just with the turn of his thumb, he can go all in or not at all. He can cut you or he can bring you in. He can sign you to a long-term deal or cut your ass. He is the emperor. The rest of us, we're just his pigeons. I was driving down the road, and I had a flashback to my youth, okay? So thinking back about 50 years. In elementary school, we went to Washington, D.C., and we went to, I think, the History Museum or the Natural History Museum. But it doesn't matter. We were outside eating lunch, sitting on a park bench. A nice, beautiful day. And I saw a pigeon in front of me. And I didn't know pigeon etiquette. Never feed the pigeons. So I threw a piece of bread to the pigeon. And then all of a sudden, this mass of pigeons come flying in. And it's a feeding frenzy. And I'm just like, whoa! And that's literally what Jerry Jones does. He says the slightest thing, we're going all in. And then everybody just en masse like pigeons to feed on his story. Now, Jerry told us, after, to me, screwing the pooch. Now, maybe it'll work out better in the end. Game Time, I'd love to talk to you about it too and get your opinion and thoughts on it. And shout out to Game Time putting in the work. He is doing the work and getting his channel growing. I think he's almost at 1,500 subscribers. Shout out to him. Congratulations. And keep up the good work because I can't wait to see you get to 5 and then 10 and then 20. Joanne Gonzalez. What's up, JoJo? I'm not sure. I'm okay. I'm okay with the hire. Okay. I'm okay with Mike Zimmer. He's another retread, older guy and everything else. Linda, what's up, lovely Linda? How you doing? The thing that bothers me is Jerry always oversells everything. See, this is the problem with Jerry Jones. He oversells everything. We're going to make a big splash with the defensive coordinator. I don't think that that's a big splash. I think it's kind of a ripple. A little drop, ding, and you get a little ripple. That's not a big splash. That's not a big splash. There was no way you could make a big splash at this point. Most of the people that would be a big splash are already hired. So you've oversold and kind of underdelivered. And I'm beginning to think that that's going to be the theme of this year. Now, again, with Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport and everything else, we hear that the Cowboys are working on a Dak Prescott deal. Now, it's funny because I'm actually looking forward to this tomorrow. The way we view Dak Prescott and everything else, people get angry about the idea. You can tell them and say, hey, listen, if Jerry Jones, and this is, I'm being honest here, Anna, Bobana, what's up, Anna? How are you doing, Anna? Here's the thing. I don't know, honestly, when Jerry Jones says, we're going all in, A, if he knows what all in means. B, does he know how to do all in? You follow what I'm saying? If he is actually going to go all in, he had opportunities, many opportunities before to do that, and chose not to. And see, here's where I am with the whole idea about Dak Prescott. Those out there say, just make him play on that $59 million deal and screw him and just let him walk. I hear what you're saying, that you're tired of Dak Prescott. I get that. But to do that basically assures that you're not going to be able to go all in. Because basically, if you don't deal with that contract, I had somebody say to me that, that they're not on board with the Cowboys doing the Dak Prescott deal because they're not going to spend the money on any other players other than our own players. But here's the problem. We're $19 million over the cap, and I'm not going to blame Dak Prescott for that because they're the ones that mismanaged the money and had to keep redoing his contract. If I told you that he was $17 million the first year, $19 million and $26 million last year, that wasn't the problem. You saved all that money to be able to screw up on Zeke Elliott, screw up on Jalen Smith, screw up on Taco Charltons and things like that, Tony Pollards and Michael Gallups. The reason why you were able to do those things was because Dak Prescott was used as a piggy bank. So if you are going to go all in, that's the one you can get the biggest amount of money for. And if you go through and you do his contract over, put an extension on there, then you've got yourself some money. Otherwise, you're going to go ahead and do Diggs' contract over. You're going to go ahead and do DeMarcus Lawrence. You'll do Zach Martin and things, and you'll get some money. You'll get yourself about maybe $40 million, but by the time you take the 20 off, and then you got 16 players that are free agents, I'm not saying you need to sign those 16 free agents, those guys right there, but if you don't sign those, you still have to replace 16 people. There's 16 guys out there that have to either be re-signed or somebody else brought in to be signed. But you got 16 spots that you got to fill, and you're $19 million over the cap. Okay? The best way to do that and have money left over if you are actually inclined to do something about it is through Dak Prescott's. Now, I'm going to preview a bit of a future video here, because I'm going to say the quarterback that Cowboy fans want is out there, but there's only one. Because I look around and I think about, Dak Prescott. He's not winning the Super Bowl. He's not the guy. So then I think Josh Allen. He can't be the guy either because, they literally decided we're going to take the ball out of your hands more and run the football. He ain't going. I think about Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert was thought to be generational. He ain't won a playoff game yet. I think of guys like Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence had 21 turnovers last year, and they had a chance for a number one seed in the AFC and missed the playoffs. Jalen Hurts, I don't think he's going to be the one that's going to make Cowboy fans happy. Let's see who else is out there. Kirk Cousins is a free agent, by the way, or could be a free agent, although Minnesota's talking about bringing him back. I know that's not the answer for Cowboy fans. Russell Wilson could be cut, although Denver's talking about maybe bringing him back if he'll redo his deal. He ain't going to be the answer. The only person out there that would fit the bill, I think, is Pat Mahomes. And you ain't getting Pat Mahomes. You're not getting Pat Mahomes. He's going to be a Kansas City, Chief for life. So the idea of just saying, just get rid of that guy, okay, then what's your answer? Because I'm hearing, Mac Jones could be traded. We've seen guys like Sam Darnold and things like that didn't pan out, and Josh Rosen's, and, we were told Kyler Murray was better than Dak Prescott and things, and he got the bag and stuff and makes more a year still right now than Dak Prescott and ain't done jack. There was Deshaun Watson. I remember everybody talking about, I'd take Deshaun Watson in a heartbeat. Well, you still taking Deshaun Watson? Because you might be able to make a trade with Cleveland. So as I look on this grand scale of things, what you want is one thing. What is reality is another. And, I know, you could go ahead and go up. Let's just draft, what's his name? Number one. Washington is sitting there with the second pick. Troy Daniels. Well, we can see that. And again, Troy, shout out to Troy. Tony Daniels. Hope everything's going good for you, man. You can do that too. But I'm going to say that more than likely Trey Lance isn't going to be the answer either. I'm going to say, because here's the thing that we all know. The guy that's in the second spot is always the most popular guy until he gets into the first spot. Kellen Moore will still be a fan favorite for Skip Bayless until he gets to play. And then he plays like ass. I've seen it so many times before. And as much as we say, see what we got with Trey Lance, if San Francisco, after spending all that they did, and I'm not going to say that Brock Purdy isn't a good quarterback, but I'm going to say that Shanahan, with the exception of understanding the overtime rules, is an incredible quarterback that has amassed a lot of talent. Because Trey Lance was working with Christian McCaffrey back there when he did get his last couple of starts. He was working with Debo there and George Kittle. And he couldn't stay healthy or perform, or both, with that talent. So what makes you think that he's going to go here with the Cowboys with lesser talent? I'm going to look and say, we don't have Ayuk. We don't have Debo Samuels. We don't have Skittle Kittle. We don't have Christian McCaffrey. And we sure don't have Kyle Shanahan as a coach. And this is no disrespect to Trey Lance. He may end up becoming a great quarterback. But if your idea is, let's get rid of a guy who had 36 TDs, made CeeDee Lamb play really good with an offense that was brand new to him, and only 9 turnovers, and say, let's take a guy who's got a total of, a couple of games under his belt and say, let's just ride that pony. I'm not sure that that's the wisest move. My thing is, I remember when people said, Andy Dalton, it's no step down from Dak Prescott, because he had been in the playoffs, 3 or 4 times. He had been an NFL starting quarterback. And we saw what the difference was with a guy that had experience playing. So I'm not sure that Trey Lance, again, we all believe that everybody is going to be, we had so many quarterbacks in the last few years that are always told they're better than Dak Prescott, from Carson Wentz to Kyler Murray to Deshaun Watson. You can go down the list and look at this thing and see that the highway behind Dak Prescott is littered with all these guys that they said they were going to be better. Andy Dalton. People, oh, man, hey, we got Andy Dalton, man. He's here to push Dak Prescott. Psh, okay, that lasted how long? I'm just saying, to me, there's not a lot of options at quarterback. And when I look at the teams that were playing yesterday, you cannot argue with that drive that Pat Mahomes did going down the stretch. That's MVP drive. That guy is on a totally different level. Pat Mahomes is, and probably will end up being, considered the best quarterback in the history of football if he stays healthy and plays a length of time and Andy Reid does not retire. You could see him surpassing Tom Brady. But here's the thing. Had it not been for that defense that they had this year, they're not going to win the Super Bowl. They're not going and winning the Super Bowl without the way that defense played. That defense held Skittle Kittle to 2 catches for 4 yards. 2 catches for 4 guys. 2 catches for 4 yards. They shut them down. Thank you, Brad. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's just going to take some time. Mahomes taking the team on his back. You know what? He did on that last drive. But you have to look at that defense and say, just let's take Baltimore, for example. They're not in the Super Bowl without the 3 takeaways that they got against the Ravens. Ravens getting ready to score on the 1-yard line. Take the ball away right there. Boom. In the end zone. Interception. Boom. Take off nose. Get a turnover on the 20-yard line. Easy touchdown. And what I'm saying this is not to say that Pat Mahomes isn't putting the team on his back, but he ain't riding it by himself, y'all. That is a team all the way around. On that last drive, you finally started to see the running backs start to pick up some steam and get some chunks in there. They can't do it without Pat Mahomes. I'm going to say that. They can't do it without Pat Mahomes, but they also can't do it without that defense. And for whoever said to me, they sent me an email, although my emails were kind of light today. I didn't see but one San Francisco 49er. Only one San Francisco 49er after days on top of days where I'm getting multiple ones from 49er fans with pictures of Brock Purdy and you going to cry. You going to cry, Mark Holmes. You going to be crying tomorrow. Crying, laughing. Bang, bang. Bang, bang, Niner gang. Okay. Anyway, moving right along. I got beat down by somebody who said that, our defense is elite. Look where they're ranked. Well, we did have some games that did skew the numbers a bit. When we beat down the Giants and Daniel Jones and what's his name? Shit, I can't even remember his name. Tommy DeVito, okay? Elisa, we got a Steelers fan? Shout out to Elisa. One of my best friends is a Steeler fan. Shout out to you. Chiefs are built to win Super Bowls. Mahomes is just along for the ride. So I want you to think about this now. Of the last 5 Super Bowls, 3 of them are Pat Mahomes. And 4 of them he's been in. So we're looking at this. I honestly have to say, now, like I said, y'all can go ahead and think that Trey Lance is the guy. I don't think so. But, hey, okay. But that's it. That's the list. There's nobody else that is anywhere near Pat Mahomes. So what you got to do is you got to take the example of what at least gives you the opportunity to try and take him out. And we've seen this every year. Every year, it's a team that builds their team through the draft and supplements it with free agency in their holes. Pause. The Cowboys, I'm sorry. It hurts me to say this. But I want you to just take your pound of flesh. The Cowboys are chokers and everything else. And I want you to think. Just clear your mind for a second here. Clear your mind. Okay? Don't think. We'll say Team A. Team A decided to get rid of their best wide receiver. They also decided to let go their third best wide receiver. And when they started the season, they only had one guy as a receiver that had caught an NFL touchdown. They had another guy that they paid a whole bunch of money to who wasn't going to be ready to start the season and was hurt, was recovering the whole year. And that was your receiving core. So you had to look at this and say, your receiving core got worse. Can we at least agree on that? That our receiving core got worse. Okay. You then, over the course of the next 2 years, let go of 2 starting offensive linemen that were experienced. Not saying they were great, but you had 2 starting offensive linemen, Connor Williams and Lyle Collins. You also let go a role player in Connor McGovern. And what did you do to replace him? Well, you did get one really good offensive lineman in Tyler Smith. One. That's about the only spot that you'll get and say you got a little bit better, at least in one position. During that 2 years, your running game was not great. It was decent, but then you got rid of another piece and didn't replace it. You go into the draft, 1 year, you get a Schoonmaker. You get a Deron Bland out of there, okay? You got a few guys that helped out. You got a Damone Clark, okay? You got a Tyler Smith. That draft was good. But then you go to the next draft, and you got nothing. We were 32nd in plays played by their drafting class. So if we lost to San Francisco 2 years ago, and everything we've done has actually been subtraction, how is it that we feel like we should be a Super Bowl team? And I ask you this, and I'm not trying to make excuses for the players or, defend Dak or anything like that. You have to honestly look at it and say, talent-wise, over the course of the last 2 years, we've gotten less talented. We just did. Am I wrong? We could have had J.J. Watt, Emperor splashing. The kicker, okay, we did. That's probably the biggest addition that we've had in the last 2 years. Now, and I'm not going to say that Fergalicious, he's going to be good. But when you look at what you lost versus what you gained, we didn't do real good. And this is where you go back and say, we can't go into a draft where we lost our 4th round pick for Trey Lance, and we lost our 5th round pick for Brandon Cooks, right? And knowing that we're picking at 26 late in the draft and think that we're going to get better just by those guys. And this is where we have to look at it and say, we can't just do the bottom basement free agents to fill in the holes. Here's another way I look at it, because me and I don't think I made that video live because I was doing it with David Wiley. Sure made your bang bang short was gold. You can see the truth. Oh my God. Sure made, I learned something. Shout out to you, Sure made. Let me get you in the hopper over here. I learned something because so many times this past year, I was counting my chickens before they hatched, okay? And maybe it's my fault. Maybe it's my fault because I know against the Detroit Lions, I was up there, bang, bang, Niners, you suck, You're going to lose. You're going to lose. And a couple times with my Cowboys. And I'm partying too soon. And that shit, karma is a bitch, came back around and bitch slapped me. So when things were going, when all of a sudden the Kansas City took the lead, Brian said something about bang, bang. I said, no. No. Because, it was like, man, this thing's, no, it's not over. And damn, if Kansas City did not win that game, and man, it was just like, I know I'm not a Kansas City fan, even though they were the original Dallas Texans and moved to Kansas City. But so much relief washed over me because I have been listening to 49er fans that seem, as hard as it is to believe, more obnoxious than Giant fans. And now you can look and say, yeah, Mike McCarthy, clock management's an issue of his and so on. But I can't look and say that I went out and got a Hargrave, that I went out and got a Chase Young who was performing, and Randy Gregory. You looked at that and said, damn, the guys they signed this year, they're balling. We didn't go out and get a great running back. We decided to get rid of one. We didn't have a physical receiver like Deebo Samuels that doesn't, check out. He knocks people out. Literally. Knocks people out. Or a defense that doesn't get tired. Lady Libra in the house. What's up, Lady Libra? And so I'm sitting here. I'm feeling pretty good seeing Kansas City kick that ass to bring them back down to earth. So I don't have to hear them all off season about how good they are. Now, granted, they made the Super Bowl. They deserve credit for it. But see, they can't close the deal. The one thing that makes me feel good when I go to sleep at night, I lay there. I went to bed like this, just like this. Because I know San Francisco's been to 3 Super Bowls since our last victory. But our last victory was after their last victory. So, but I was cooking in the kitchen with David Wiley, and I was having a discussion, and I was saying, because there are players out there. Now, we hear that the Giants, I'm sure that Cop Pizzle's probably going to have a hissy fit, because Saquon, they're going to basically let him go ahead and go out on the market and stuff, because they don't want to tag him, because it'll be about $14-15 million to tag him again. They're saying we're hopeful that we can work out a deal, but we're not paying that kind of money. Josh Jacobs, we're hearing that the Raiders say they'd like to bring him back at the right price, of course, and we're hearing that Harbaugh wants to bring back Austin Eckler. Now, that's fine and dandy, but again, we're talking about the price. So Saquon's going to be out there, and I'm not sure Saquon's the one I want, because Saquon is going to want to get paid, and Saquon does seem to get injured a bit. Nothing like Cowboys lady. Amen on that one. We've got the sweetest, most wonderful ladies in here, including an Eagle one with lovely Linda. So shout out to, there's Logan Motorsports. Shout out to Logan, because Logan supports Cowboy channels. I know he supports Game Day Brian and supports me. I appreciate that, man. And he is definitely not a cockroach like those 40 Whiner fans that aren't showing up right now. What I would love to see, and this is where I was talking with David Wiley, was I was saying, listen, all in doesn't have to be as much as you think. Micah is really good and an exceptional player, but you can't expect him to do it all on his own. When you look at San Francisco's defense, and they've got T.J. Watt. TJ is an incredible player, but how many times have you seen TJ Watt making not TJ Watt, jeez. I'm having a brain fart. I'm talking about that. Their edge rusher. How many times you seen him literally making sacks untouched? I bet you at least 30%, 40% of them are he's not covered. Okay? Bosa, thank you. Thank you, then, Boys Kicks. You've seen Bosa literally, like, I can't believe they didn't cover me. Right? Because Bosa, you got to worry about a whole bunch of stuff. Did you see Chase Young last? I was like, man, this mother humper guys get out of Washington and go to San Francisco. They become ballers. Trent Williams became, the best tackle in football with a mean attitude after he got away from the Commanders. Here it is. Shanahan's in the Super Bowl again after getting away from the Commanders. Sean McVay, he's in the Super Bowl and wins one, and is in the second one after he gets away from Washington. Do you see a pattern here? Getting away from Washington, you do great things. Heck, maybe we should have signed Ron Rivera. Maybe he would have been great. I don't know. Seems like that's the trend. But you see those guys? So if you've got Chase Young who's now beginning to play, and even Chase Young, not as great as he was his rookie year, is still playing better than, say, Sam Williams. Armstead? Bro, I'm taking Armstead over anybody on our interior defensive line. Seriously. Same thing with Hargrave. So when you got Greenlaw out there as a linebacker, and things, that defense is lights out. We can't compete like that. We don't even have a real linebacker. We're playing safeties. Did you guys see how those guys are crashing? How they're filling the gap? They're instinctual. They know here's the hole, here comes the guy, and I'm bringing the load. We ain't got that. So let's say, and I know it's not going, I know, just humor me. I know it's not going to happen. But let's say we get cray-cray and bring in a Derrick Henry or a Saquon. Okay? Just humor me. I know Jerry Jones ain't going to go in like this, but just humor me. If you brought in one of those guys and you could run the football, right? The best thing you can do for a quarterback is be able to get a few runs under your belt. Pick up a few yards. Slow the game down. And that's something we couldn't do. We had to pass the ball to set up the run. You want to run the ball to set up the pass. Buffalo learned if we just become one-dimensional with Josh Allen. I don't know why I can't think today. With Josh Allen, they know he's going to throw 2 or 3 picks. So they decided the second half of the season, changing offensive coordinators, we're going to focus on getting the ball running and going, and then we'll start doing more of the passing. And that became successful for them. Right? Right. Okay. If that is, in fact, the case and the way it's working, maybe that works for us too. And then you see, like San Francisco having not just Debo, but also having Ayuk, right? So what if you went really crazy and you ended up bringing in another really good wide receiver? Now, this would be cray-cray because it'll never happen that we would trade for Stephon Diggs. I know we wouldn't. But could you imagine if you put in a Henry and a Stephon Diggs? It's going to cost you some money. It's going to cost you some money. It's going to cost you some draft picks. Well, my shirt, this is one my wife made for me, and it's all of the things that we are as a Cowboy fan. I'm loyal, devoted, steadfast, immovable. That's because of my fat ass. Come rain or shine, through thick and thin, no matter what haters say, even when they suck, Dallas Cowboy for life, true blue, die-hard fan. And maybe I need to do that video where they say, of course I'm a Cowboy fan and I'm loyal, even when they suck and lose in the playoffs. I'm steadfast, even when Jerry Jones takes his time at hiring a defensive coordinator. I'm immovable because usually I'm in a state of shock after we get blown out. Through thick and thin, well, it's been just really thick for the last 29 years. No matter what haters say, and the haters, of course, they say a lot. I could literally do that. But see, Timothy, That'll be the kind of move that we get. See, if you were really going all in, you would say, let me get a young stud linebacker that I'm going to have to pay, but he is a proven guy that's not old. And that would be Patrick Queen, because that was going to bring me to the next point. If you got a guy like a Patrick Queen, hypothetically, if you got those three things, just those three guys, maybe I could get crazy and say that you get another defensive end or a big defensive tackle, right? If you got 4 blue chippers, and with whatever draft picks you have left, I'm taking my second-round pick. Listen to me. I'm taking my second-round pick. I'm not picking with my second-round pick. I'm trading that mother. If I can trade that thing for, I tell you what, Stephon, it will give you our next 2 number 2s for Stephon Diggs. I'm doing that. I don't want anything to do with the second-round pick. We got too many problems with our second-round picks, okay? I don't want to see no more Boss Man Fats. I don't want to see no more Tristan Hills. I don't want to see no more Jalen Smiths. I don't know what it is, but we've had 2 in about the last 12 years good second-round picks in Diggs and D-Law. That's it. That's the list. But if you were to do that, and then, even if it did take you your number 1 for Stephon Diggs, and you trade your number 2, maybe you take your number 2 and a number 3 and you try and move back into the number 1s. I don't know. Or maybe you take the 2 and go back and get a couple of 3s. But then you looked and said, we're going to try and get another offensive lineman, right? We're going to get another defensive tackle, right? And we're going to get some role players. You can't tell me that team isn't 100 times better to compete. You'd be able to run the ball, and you got multiple weapons that can be lights out other than just CD. And if you get a guy like Stephon Diggs, who's got a bit of an edge, maybe he can fire up some other people because, seeing CD, and I love CD. CD, don't be mad at me, CD. But when you're sitting there with the coveralls falling off and you say, I got to grow up, yeah, you do. But you might need somebody else to feed off of because I'm not sure that you're ready to be the leader when you say, I got to grow up, that you're ready to take charge and be that leader that helps to fire everybody else up. I don't ever remember hearing Michael Irvin say, I need to not check out and grow up. I never saw Des Bryant do that. I never saw T.O. do that. And see, we need some fire. We need some passion. We need some guys that are edgy. Maybe even borderline crazy. So I'm hopeful with Mike Zimmer. I don't know how you guys feel. To me, it's not a big splash. It's actually about the best option that you could probably make at this point. And being familiar with the organization and how it runs or doesn't run can probably hit the ground running more so than somebody else who doesn't have any familiarity with Jerry Jones, because we don't have much time. I think our wide receivers are good. Tolbert is progressing. Even Brooks showed signs of promise. Yes, they did as role players. But guess what? I need me a guy who's lights out. I need a guy who's going to be a baller to go with CD and also to help lead him. I don't know that CD mentality is to be the lead dog. I don't know that. I know he's going to get paid like one, but I think I need somebody else out there that's got some grit and some edge. I don't think Jalen Tolbert is more of a, he's a nice guy, adorable personality and things. But I need some thugs. I need some street in you. I need some gangster. I need some pit bull. I want my coach to be borderline crazy. Well, Mike Zimmer, at least the old Mike Zimmer, used to be a little bit like that old school coach who was going to get a foot in your ass. We'll see how that goes with the Cowboys. This is why I looked and said Rex Ryan is that kind of mold too. But Rex Ryan, he's been out of the game for too long. And 8 years, it's a different game. And he's going to have a longer learning curve to get up to speed, to start, scouting the players and knowing exactly what he wants and so forth. And I honestly think that Zimmer at least is not as far removed from it. And maybe we'll have an effect kind of like Dan Quinn, where, right off the bat, because we're doing something different, teams don't know exactly what we're going to do or to expect. And he's going to put these guys on notice. I guarantee you, when he heard them say that we were tired, you may lose a game. Kind of like when you heard Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell is, we're going to get knocked down. We're going to lose, but we're going to get up. We're going to start gnawing at your kneecaps and shit. You may be tired, but you ain't going to show it. You think Stephon Diggs will be a drama queen playing with his brother? I don't know, Alan. But, here's the problem. Well, here's the thing with Stephon. You have to think that he was with the wide receiver maker in Kirk Cousins. You say what you want about Kirk Cousins. He gets wide receivers paid. He gets wide receivers paid. They get a lot of catches and great numbers, and they get paid. So if you didn't get along with Kirk Cousins, getting all the catches you got, and then you go to Josh Allen, who's supposed to be generational, and I can understand being edgy. I don't know if you guys have ever been to Buffalo or not. Have you ever been we went to Buffalo. I've been to Buffalo twice. We went for Niagara Falls. We ended up doing like an Airbnb before it was cool with the kids and stuff. This is probably, 14, 15 years ago. Road trip to Buffalo. And we went over to see Niagara Falls. You can see Canada over there, waved at that. But there was not a lot going on in Buffalo. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, so this is Buffalo when it's warm. When it's cold in Buffalo, I don't know that I'd be real happy right there either. I'd be kind of pouting too because it's too damn cold. If he gets to Dallas and he gets the media that he loves and everything else, there's all kinds of things to do in Dallas. And he's got his family there who seems to be more, his brother seems to be more leadership-like, okay? If it don't work there, then he's just done. And I could see him being happier or more content in with them boys than being in Buffalo. Like I said, there ain't much in Buffalo, guys. It ain't very big. And it's cold as shit. So, maybe. John Beasley, can't wait for the draft. I can't wait to be there myself. Me and Game Time, David Wiley, maybe Primetime Phil will be there and stuff. We've got our hotel. Basically, if you've ever been to Detroit, Detroit's interesting because Detroit is one of the few major cities that don't have like a subway. I mean, you can even go to L.A. and there's a subway. But because of all the car plants and everything else, they wouldn't allow them to have the subway. Okay? They literally bought the subway tunnels. And there's subway tunnels that are there, but the car companies sealed them off. Well, all they would allow them to do is they have downtown, they call it the People Mover, which is like a raised train that goes in about a 1.5 mile circle downtown. And so there is some campus park that's on the water where they're going to do the draft, okay, which is inside the circle of the People Mover. We're going to be at the Doubletree, which is like an old building that was redone like 6 years ago to become a Doubletree Hotel. So we've got a spot that's right there on one of the spots for the People Mover. So we will be 1/2 mile away from the actual draft, going off. So we can walk there or take the People Mover, or we're 1/2 mile from the MGM. So we can go to MGM and gamble and say who the pick's going to be, or put some money on the Cowboys to win the Super Bowl. Be that as it may, we will be there broadcasting live, and we're going to get there on Wednesday this year. We're going to try and scout a location, so hopefully we can be inside like we were last year. Last year was perfect. We were literally inside of the draft, live streaming from the draft with microphones, me and Game Time, although my knees hurt like shit. Brian, you know what, Brian? used to go to Detroit every year from 2003 till about 2014. And I will say that the first time I went to Detroit, we were in a taxi cab because my wife's worked for United Way, and they would always do the halftime show. So it was always great. Go to halftime show there in Detroit. We'd eat unfortunately at a restaurant for Thanksgiving, and I'm watching the Cowboys on TV in a restaurant with all the people from United Way and stuff in the halftime show. The first year we were there, I asked the cab driver, I said, what's the one thing you got to do in Detroit when you're here? And he said, get out alive. I said, no, seriously. I mean, should I go to a motel? No, he's like, no, just get out alive. And he was dead serious. And what happened when they had the Super Bowl there, which was the greatest Super Bowl. Oh, my God, that Super Bowl was unbelievable. Because I went to the NFL commissioners party, and they were bringing back all of the former NFL Super Bowl MVPs. And we're at dinner. I'm seeing Emmitt Smith. I'm seeing Troy Aikman. I'm seeing Michael Irvin there. There's Jerry Jones. There's Ken Stabler. There's John Riggins. There's Joe Montana. I mean, it was just like you had your head on a swivel, because it was just like every football great that you've ever imagined was right there. And that was when I actually met Michael Irvin for the first time, because it was the night that he found out he was not going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. And I went over and talked to him. When they had that Super Bowl there, they cleaned up downtown. All the old vacant buildings had stuff in them. There's shops and everything else and parties and all that stuff. I don't know how they cleaned it up so fast. They did. But even as the years kept going through, there used to be the Joe Louis Arena, which was down on the waterfront. They started rebuilding that. Then they built like the MGM Grand Hotel. They built the Riverwalk that came through there, which is by the Rent Center when you always see the GM building, and it's actually a series of like these 5 black cylinder towers. One of them is actually a Marriott hotel. I think it's Marriott. That's like 50 stories tall. And so they've cleaned up all of that down through there. They have rebuilt that. There's the Greek Town Casino and things that's there. So there's a lot of money that's in there. And the thing I can tell you about when the NFL comes to town, that's the safest you ever going to be in your life. I remember Seattle because they literally did these care packages for the homeless people. Toothbrush, socks, and, deodorant and, blankets and all that stuff. They ended up literally picking up the homeless people. Here's an extra bag of stuff for you. We're going to relocate you until after the kickoff event is over. And that's what they do when the Super Bowl and all these events come through. There are so many cameras and things. And I'm going to tell you, this was when the Super Bowl was in San Francisco. It blew my mind because this is before I knew about like facial recognition. So this is like maybe 8 years ago. We had to, of course, get IDs and stuff for the NFL to be able to work at the NFL Experience. And you have to go to the NFL security place. We go there and stuff, right? We had been there a few days earlier, so we'd already gotten our badges and things like that and stuff. Been there, checked in and stuff. And when we got there to check in, the guy, before we even showed an ID, said, "Hi, Tracy Holmes." I said, "Do I know you?" He said, "No, but we know you." I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "We have facial recognition software." They had literally had this stuff up for months where they literally were taking faces of everybody in the whole area and creating a database. And that was like 8 years ago. So when you think about, worried about the crime in Detroit or something like that with the NFL, nah, bro, you ain't got to worry about that. They got you covered. It's like a whole other world. Marcus, nice. We stayed at the Marriott when we went to Detroit for the husband's business trip. Oh, the Rent Center, it is the view from up there. It's unbelievable. The only problem was when we were there one year, there was a fire alarm had went off, and we were like on the 38th floor. And we had to start going down the steps. And this is like, 1 o'clock. It turned out somebody had set off a candle. It was the Super Bowl because somebody was burning candles in there trying to do a seance for the Steelers. and it set off the alarms. And we're looking out our window, and we're seeing, like, the fire trucks, and we're like, that ladder ain't going to reach up here. But anyway, that's my story, and I'm going to stick to it. But that's all I got for you guys tonight. I can't wait to get to the draft. It may be the first day of the offseason, but there ain't no offseason because now that Mike Zimmer's here, we're going to find out which one of these coaches are going to be replaced or which one's going to be retained, who's going to be the passing game coordinator, and so forth, who's going to end up being what, everything else. And they've got a lot of decisions to make over the course of the next month that are going to decide what kind of team this is going to be. If the Cowboys truly are going all in, they've got more work to do now than usual. They got to get Dak Prescott's deal done. There needs to be a sense of urgency on that. And they've got to start figuring out which one of these guys are we going to target to try and bring in here, because it is not much time. And literally, we're about 2.5 months away from the draft. So there you go. You're shipping pinks to the draft? Oh, my God. You are obsessed with pinks, my man. But, hey, I can't blame you. If you like your pink, you like your pink. And I guess that's all good, people. I got to check in with my wife. She's taking care of some business and stuff. I need to make sure everything's going okay by them. But as always, you know I appreciate each and every one of you guys. And keep the faith with the Cowboys. Maybe, just maybe, all of the talk that we're doing as fans keeps the pressure on the Joneses. We can only hope for that. Peace out.
Disrespected yet? Does this defense have any heart?
No, they suck. I've been telling you all season, Philly.
Shit on you. They've shit on you. Don't you hear me? Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Slate, they shit on you. They've shit on you. They have shit on you. Don't you hear me? Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Slate, they shit on you. Kill them.
Oh, my